Okay, today I would like to talk to you about string programming. If you follow this tip, you can improve your string programming almost in real time. But before jumping into the details of this orchestral section, let's first have a look at the full orchestra score that I rescored for one of the key scenes of Avatar. Here's the clip. Alright, that was the entire orchestra playing the cue, but now let's mute all the other sections and isolate the strings. Let's hear how it sounds. So here is only the strings. The string, as being the backbone of the orchestra, usually have to sound full by itself. In this case, it sounds sparse but not empty. It sounds moving because of the writing in the score and the simulation of the bowing. One common mistake I see in many Midi programmings is the lack of a proper bowing simulation, which today can be easily programmed in most sample libraries. Let's hear the first violin only. As you can see, there's a lot of pyramids in the dynamic drawing. This is actually not a real change in the dynamics, but a simulation of the string bowing. I usually draw mountains and peaks instead of pyramids, but since samples are not so sensible to little nuances as synths are, with just a few clicks here and there you can draw an expressive bowing. Keep in mind that in the huge majority of situations, string players don't play straight long notes. To give life to a long static note, they usually play some swells, which in the majority of cases mean a little increase in the volume after the attack, followed by a long decay. Sometimes the attack may be slow and the peak may happen in the middle of the length of the note, but this is mostly for slow tempos, which is not the case of this music. In the majority of the cases, you have to take care of the bowing in the long notes, but not so in the short ones. Let's see it in the violas. So we are now seeing the violas and the drawing of the bowing. And as you can see in the faster phrases, there's no such thing as one bowing for each note, but it happens in the long notes. Here I have a long note and a pyramid. Here I have another long note and another pyramid. Here is simulating a real crescendo. Here is straight because the phrase is faster. Longer note, pyramid. And the same procedure keeps happening throughout the entire phrase. Longer notes and one pyramid for each. Those pyramids in the faster phrases mean that there's a real crescendo here because the notes are going up. And usually the string players would play it a little bit forte. Fast phrase, straight lines. You don't have to take care of it. And in the last note, there's a real decay. Now I'm going to show you the most common drawings for simulation of bowings in the strings. Here's the one that I was using right here. The center of the note is here, and the peak is always in the left. But for slower phrases, usually it might happen something like this, where the peak of the note is right in the middle. A drawing like this is something like a marcato. And another common drawing is a marcato followed by a crescendo. But usually, in some occasions, you may have a drawing like this. And as I said before, string players usually don't play straight, but sometimes what we want is a straight line. Usually, this straight line is not played with vibrato. It's just a pedal tone that usually is very high or very low. And the dynamics are usually piano or pianissimo. Alright, that's one of the tricks that once applied will improve a lot of realism of your string section.